The graph shows point W and line P. Which equation best represents the point slope form of the line that passes through point W and is parallel to line P? So there's a lot of things going on right here, but let's go ahead and decipher it first looking at the graph. Now the graph has this line, which is line P. The graph goes ahead and gives us this dot, and also W. Let's go ahead and label things before we underline anything. I'm going to go ahead and label these points right here. So here I have -5 and I have a -2. That's for this point. And then for this point right here, I go ahead and have 5, 6. So that's what I have, right? Now there's going to be two different formulas that we're going to be using here. One of the formulas is already given to us because in this question, it goes ahead and tells us point slope form. If you go ahead and just, looking at your test, you can open this up on your test as an example. I can go ahead and go to linear equations. It's a standard form, slope intercept form, point slope form. Here is the formula. So I'm going to go ahead and write that on my paper. On my paper, I'm going to go ahead and say that the formula that I'm going to be using is y is minus 1y is equal to m parentheses x minus x1. Now this is going to get very chaotic very quickly. I haven't even looked at my answer choices as it is, but if you look at your answer choices, you're going to notice that your answer choices look a lot like the point slope form of the line that passes through point W and is parallel to line P. So there's two things that it wants us to do. It wants us to go through point W. This is what it wants us to do. And it also wants the line to be parallel to line P. So there's two things that we're trying to achieve. Now, the only thing that you have to do, very simply, right, is draw a line that does this. It's not hard at all. The only thing that's required is that we have to go ahead and replace these values that we have on the point slope form. So to do so, we can already start replacing some of them. We're going to keep y. We're going to go ahead and keep a lot of things. We're going to keep this minus. We're going to go ahead and keep the fact that we have a parentheses. I want this to look a little prettier. X minus and parentheses. I'm going to simply go ahead and replace this y1 with the y1 from the W. I'm not replacing it from the P line. I'm simply going to go ahead and say my W is going to be y is going to be 1, 5. So that's the point for my W. My point is 1, 5. Here, I can go ahead and substitute my y1 with 5. So I'm going to substitute that with 5. And then I'm going to go ahead and say x1 is going to be substituted with this 1 over here. Because they are positive, I know I'm not going to swap them. This symbol here, I have a negative. If these numbers were negative, this number would have to be swapped over. -5 would make this into a positive 5 in this situation. What you might have realized already is that the only value that I'm missing is going to be this m missing right here. So this is the only thing that I'm missing. To do so, we have to go ahead and look at our formula again. The one thing that's going to give me m is using this situation right here. The slope of a line. That's all we're missing. We're just missing the slope of this line. We have to make it parallel to this P line. We simply have to go ahead and write our formula or simply substitute the values in our formula. I'm going to just go ahead and write the full formula. So for the m, I have y2 minus y1, and then I have x2 minus x1. I'm going to substitute the values, and I'm going to have is equal to. As to whether which one comes first or which one comes next, you're always going to go from left to right. So I'm always thinking about this I'm going in this direction, right? I'm always going from left to right. So in that case, I'm going to go ahead and say my y2 is going to be this 6 minus -2. Because it's a -2, this value is going to turn into a positive. So I'm going to make this into a positive 2. Here, I'm going to go ahead and have this x1, this x2, which has 5, minus -5. Because it is a -5, this also is going to turn into a positive. So these two are going to be added. The top ones are going to be added as well. The last thing I'm going to end up doing is doing 6 plus 2, which is going to be equal to 8. And we're going to have 5 plus 5, which is going to be equal to 10. you're going to end up having 8 over 10, which can be simplified, of course, to being 4 over 5. If we have 4 over 5, the last thing I'm going to end up doing is I look simply for the answer choice that is accurate. We know the first one's not going to be it. The reason for that is that there is a negative here, and we do not want a negative. We're going to cross this one out. This one's the 5 is on top. We don't want that, and the answer choice is going to be B. Thank you for watching.